a lot of our house is one room. It's this big great room that's kind of separated by area into like a dining room, great room area, and then a little area in between that used to have a fish tank, and now we're putting like a dry bar in that area. So it's all ripped apart. A huge part of our house is ripped apart. But today I just went out just beforehand to grab some coffee, and the guys are here, and they're bringing these. So there's these beams along the ceiling, and the people lived here before us painted it all white, and we really wanted to look. It would look great like a lodge, like you go into one of these nice lodges. So they have this cool timber that has all these knots in it and stuff that is made to cover up the real beam that doesn't look good underneath. Like when they told me they were going to take down the beams, I'm like, is my roof going to come down? Like that's how it's how little I know, Bola. I know nothing about how this stuff
works.
Start
watching HGTV. You can build a house after.
That, of course I can. Yes. And I'll do it in a couple days, and we'll get 90% profit.
Right. I was telling my husband that same thing last night. I'm like, first of all, these people here are actors and actresses. They never buy this house. Second of all, I bet you these people have lawsuits up the wazoo because these houses, there's no way. No.
Oh, the one group, Love It or List It. I read about a huge lawsuit they had in North Carolina because the TV company, when they came in and they said, "Hey, we're going to redo your house," so you decide whether to love it or list it.
The Canadian woman and the guy, right?
Yes, and the woman, her team, they used like the least the cheapest stuff possible, and the second that they were done filming, everything they did fell apart. Like everything fell apart.
Yeah, I heard that about Chicago rehab.
Oh,
Windy City rehab. She has a lawsuit, big one for like millions of dollars. Her partner was embezzling the funds and then putting cheap crap.
I don't get it, Bola. Why can't you just keep a little for yourself? Come on. Some people call it embezzling. Some people call it keeping a little.
Okay. You belong in that business, Joe.
Yeah, maybe.
You're in the wrong business. You should be right there.
Yeah, priorities, fish tank or dry bar. Absolutely, Tyson. I did not want the fish tank. My father-in-law, who was one of my best friends, passed away a few years ago. He said, a fish tank is great, Bola, if you've got a flushable toilet.
Because the water starts to stink.
because of the float, because you find your fish floating and you have to, you have to give them a burial at sea.
I can't deal with any floating animals. No.
But you've got twins, like I have twins, but yours are young enough that, fish dying might be a good way to teach them a little bit about death,
I warned my son, don't you dare bring a frog into my house or anything you pick up outside. Don't try it. Listen. I don't do well with creepy crawlies.
Had Cheryl told that to my son, that was the number one reason he was going to do it right there. Oh, Mom doesn't like snakes. Okay. Yeah. All right. Ready to do this? Guys, we're going to make this is my friend Bola Sokunbi from Clever Girl Finance and Clever Girls Know podcast, and the author of what hasn't she done? Author of Grow Your Money. So we're going to be making 2 Money with Friends episodes, and they're going to, if you're wondering why the heck we're talking about Black Friday and Cyber Monday, it's because that's when these are going to appear. Bola and I want to be super lazy next week and we don't want to work, and that's when she's supposed to appear. So we agreed to be a week early. So you're all in on the joke with us. All right. But like Tyson did, feel free, guys, to leave us comments, and we'll try to add them into the show. If you've got questions about what we're talking about, which we're going to talk about you'll hear what we're talking about. So we're just going to dive into it.
Hi, Tyson.
By the way, our graphics build from my side. So I'm not Bola, she's Bola. And yes. I was recording with Adam Carroll. I don't know if you know Adam, Bola, but he's the cool guy. And he's like, how come you're Adam Carroll? I'm like, because I want to be cool. So now I want to be Bola. All right. We ready to make a couple podcasts?
Yes.
All right. Let's do this. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Well, while you're masking up for Black Friday, we've got you covered on the money front today. Stimulus in 7 areas is possibly coming to an end soon. What do you need to know about the bumps in the road ahead, assuming the government doesn't change the game? We'll cover what you need to know with the woman behind Clever Girl Finance. Bola Sokunbi is here on today's Black Friday version of Money with Friends. Welcome back to the Money with Friends podcast, coming to you live from my mom's half-finished basement where we make the Stacking Benjamin show in Texarkana, Texas. I'm Joe Salsi. Hi.
And I am Bola Sokunbi, coming to you from my plastic table because my office furniture is still not here. 9 weeks later.
We have the same plastic table, Bola. It is it's
from Costco.
It's a sketchy card table day here on the show. This is the podcast where Bola and I are going to cover recent story ripped from the financial press. Today's comes to us from Next Advisor. We're going to talk about how you can invest better, save better, maybe pay down debt more effectively. And if that's not enough, Bola and I will share a big idea at the end of the day that you can take with you, and usually we'll do that in less than 20 minutes. Today's show is brought to you by Tiller Money. Keep your financial life on course, easily track your money over time, always know what's safe to spend, and confidently plan for the future with spreadsheets automated by Tiller Money. You'll get a free 30-day trial if you go to tillerhq.com/MWF. That's tillerhq.com/MWF. And keeping life on course, Bola, is something that I think a lot of people aren't thinking about today. People are out. I don't know. Are you thinking about braving the malls after we're done here on Black Friday? Are you going to mask up and go spend a bunch of money?
No, I still feel very nervous about everything, So I'm going to online shop for my kids' Christmas gifts and just call it a Friday.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the world. I can't imagine having a brick and mortar store on a day like today. It's going to be, crowds. Like, I'm just thinking all these super spreader events going on at Best Buy.
I can't imagine they're going to have to do some lines and limitations. It's going to be different, but it's still, I don't think everybody will behave themselves.
Well, that's what I was thinking
on Black Friday.
Some of my favorite, and not favorite in a good way, favorite in it's a train wreck that I can't stop watching, are those videos where people are brawling to get the television. Do you think everybody's going to spray themselves with sanitizer before they start beating the heck out of each other?
I don't know, but I'll tell you that TV will probably be cheaper after Christmas.
Probably will be. Today, we're going to talk about some really important stuff. Some of the pandemic relief efforts that the government had in place may be going away. Bola brought this to my attention. We're going to go through 7 areas you need to pay attention to. Let's see which one of our friends is going to help us kick off today's show. All right, this piece comes to us from Next Advisor. Adam Urema and Alex Gailey wrote this. 7 major pandemic relief programs are ending soon. Here's how to prepare for the financial cliff. And I know 11 people. I wish it were 11 people, over 11 million people, Bola, out of work. This is a scary time for a lot of people.
Very scary. And I think a lot of people have kind of been riding the wave with the different benefits and support programs, which you're going to talk about in this article, but it's definitely scary. Everything that's been going on.
Yeah, let's walk through these. We've got 7 of these to do in 15 minutes. So guys, we're going to hit the highlights. The first one, Bola, I'll point to, first one on this list, access to unemployment benefits. Speaking of that, $2.2 trillion response to the pandemic passed by Congress in the spring, told states to expand the definition of who's eligible for unemployment benefits. That comes to an end now. What should people do about it?
Yeah, when it comes to unemployment, you still can apply for the benefits if you did not apply, if you've had income reduction or income losses. And I know that some states are retroactively back paying unemployment benefits. But it's also important to keep in mind that the benefits were expanded as part of the CARES Act. So as we go into the new year, if there aren't changes made, or if there aren't changes made, we may see the amount of those unemployment benefits reduce.
Yeah, I love what it says in this piece, which is applying for unemployment anyways, a slog. These offices in every state are overwhelmed. So be prepared to just take it a step at a time and know ahead of time that this is going to be a rough go, but stick with it.
Yeah, it is a rough go. I mean, I read some really depressing stats online where the people who need the unemployment benefits the most actually don't have access to it because they cannot get onto a computer to apply, and the actual physical office is closed or very limited opening times. So some people are not even getting these benefits. It's a real challenge.
That was my brother-in-law. He works in the food services industry, doesn't make a lot of money, doesn't own a computer. Cheryl and I helped him apply for benefits in Michigan, and it was a real struggle. So I saw that firsthand, and we weren't even sure if we filled it out right, and there was nobody to ask. That was the frustrating thing. Luckily, we did, but you couldn't call a phone number. There's nothing to do. Second on this list, 401k hardship withdrawals. Now, wow, I've heard, Bola, and you I'm sure have too, some people use this as an excuse to go get money. I think that was kind of overreported, but still, I don't know. I personally think this is the last place you want to go for money. How do you feel about these 401k hardship things with around COVID?
I feel the same way. I think a lot of people took advantage of this to take money out. I got questions from people saying, well, now that I can take money out without the 10% penalty or other fees, should I just take this money and pay off my credit card debt? Should I just do this? Should I just do that? I'm not a fan of tapping into your 401k because of the opportunity cost of time combined with the power of compounding over that time. That really is what allows you to build wealth and grow money with this type of account. And so this is a last resort, desperate need when you take money out of here. And so that benefit as of right now is going away on December 30th, right? So after that, you will still have to pay the penalty. But if you can avoid touching that money, right, you definitely should, avoid it.
Yeah. Third here on the list, student loan deferments and interest freeze. This hit a lot of people because, for the last few months, you might not have had any student loan payments, and those student loan payments are probably coming back.
Yes, and this was a measure that was extended from September 30th. And I've actually had a ton of conversations about this because people are like, well, what should I do? And my take has been, if you have been making these payments in the past, there are two things you want to strategically do with this opportunity. It's either you take that money that you're not putting towards those deferred loans and interest and put it towards your debt and get that debt dealt with, that high interest debt credit cards, or you take that money and use it to get ahead on the future interest on your student loans by putting that money towards your principal balance on your loans. Not everybody did that. Some people, or use that money to bulk up your emergency savings, right? Given all the uncertainty. Some people did, whatever. But I think now that we're really starting to see the impact of this COVID on small business, on the economy, on jobs. A lot of people no longer have this money to put toward their loans. And I'm really hoping that this is something that gets extended beyond December 30th, at least until we get some sort of calm with the pandemic going on.
Yeah, me too. I mean, for a lot of people, nothing changes in their budget, and it just gets a lot harder to live. And by the way, on that note too, I've seen some talk from people saying that they've heard President-elect Biden talking about, dismissing a lot of the student loans or canceling student loan debt, and people saying, well, I'm just not going to pay my student loans anymore. Don't stop making your student loan payment.
No, don't do that
until that becomes a law. Do not stop paying your student loan debt.
Yeah, I'm one of the skeptics around that. I don't see how they're gonna, do that. Maybe amounts for certain people. And then what about people who just recently paid off their loans? Is there going to be any retroactive? It's complicated. But keep paying your loans. Don't let this impact your credit. Don't let speculation about what may be that has not yet come to be cause you to impact your own finances if you're able to pay those loans.
This is one that also is going to hurt for a lot of people. Eviction moratoriums, people in their houses. Of course, this, Bola, is also a multifaceted issue. You have landlords out there that are also struggling because they can't collect rent, right? And at the same time, I mean, much, much, much worse. That's a great problem to have compared to the other problem, which is somebody may not have a place to live pretty soon.
Yes, this is, again, this is something that I hope gets extended because for most people who are not paying their rent right now, it's not because they don't want to, it's because they just don't have the money. These are not normal times. And I've also been reading crazy things about landlords who have applied for mortgage forbearance programs, but are still harassing tenants for rent.
Oh.
So Yeah, this is one of those situations where you really want to try to have a conversation with your landlord and let them know if this moratorium expires and you're still unable to pay your rent.
Yeah, I love that advice. Negotiate if you can at all. Utility bill relief is the next one.
Yeah, so a lot of these utility companies have put in, freezes in place or they were required to offer electricity, gas, water to customers, even if they couldn't make their payment. So again, this is something that, long-term sustainable for these utility companies. They need to make money. However, if you're in that space where you feel like I really can't pay this water bill, you need water, I can't pay this electricity bill, call them and ask for a plan. Many of them are still going to work with you, right? Even though you're not able to pay, they can reduce payments, they can defer payments. Maybe they may charge you a fee, but you want to make sure that those essential utilities that you need to survive, you're able to get access to them. So communicate with them as soon as you can.
Absolutely. And with winter coming, especially, I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like this is Game of Thrones, the real life edition, right? Winter is coming, but that makes it very difficult for people.
Yes, it's really challenging. Like when you really think about the impact of this pandemic and the fact that all these programs we're talking about have been buffering that impact, it's scary to think about what could happen if they all just go away all at once, which is what is really happening, right? December 30th is like the end of all of these programs.
Due to happen. I was, Cheryl and I were having this conversation, my spouse and I, that if this had happened to me in 1994 at the deepest part when I owed everybody and their sister money and I didn't understand how my money worked. And I was I remember thinking a lot of the time, I didn't know how I was going to pay for my next meal, live the next day. And I remember thinking, I just wanted to get to the point there. I was a week ahead. My first goal was to get a week ahead. And I know there's people out there that are exactly like me then, Bola. If this had happened in 1994, I'd be totally screwed. Just
Yeah.
no idea. Last one
Yeah.
here is some credit reporting protections.
Yeah, so these are, reports that your creditor will make to the bureau when it comes to paying your bills in time, and this may go away. So again, what is the date here? It's through the end of January 20th, 2021. Again, this is important to communicate because your credit is important, right? When you're trying to get housing, get utilities, get a job, apply for a mortgage, you want to make sure you're able to maintain your credit. And so if you are in the space where you have struggled to pay your bills, contact your lender, contact your creditor, and ask for options. Once this moratorium ends, if you haven't communicated, then they automatically start sending these reports. But if you communicate and you get into a plan or a program with them, or you work with them, they are likely, depending on the creditor, to defer these reports. And this gives you time, right? A lot of people need to buy themselves time right now to get back on their feet, to bring money in. And so I will just add, as scary as it can be to hear that these programs are going away, you can take action by communicating, by finding work, even if it's below your skill set, by getting scrappy, and just do your best to survive. If a bad report hits your credit, it's fine. Your credit can recover. But you just want to make sure that you can do your best to get through this difficult time.
Yeah, when it comes to all of this stuff, I just think that what you said about negotiating and about letting everybody know where you are. I know there's a lot of programs from a lot of, you're not the only one having this issue, and credit card companies have programs of their own. A lot of utility companies have programs of their own. So the more you communicate, I think the better off you're going to be, and find out what programs. Ask these institutions if they have programs for people hit by COVID. And many times they have programs. The government program's going away, but the individual institution might have one that's sticking around.
Yeah, I agree. I'm at a loss for words, honestly. It's tough times, but you have to communicate. Don't get caught up in feeling bad for yourself. Focus on how you can take action to get through this period. And there is good news around the corner with, the announcement of vaccines and things. So there's the chance for recovery, but you have to get through these next few months.
Yeah. In just a second, Bola and I'll have our takeaway from today's discussion about all these programs possibly going away. And a great thing for people today is our sponsor, Tiller Money, because today's a day when a lot of people are out blowing the budget, Bola. they're out there. If they're lucky enough to have employment and they're lucky enough to be doing okay, today's the day that retailers are cleaning up. They call it Black Friday for a reason. So if you want to keep your financial life on course and you want to easily track your budget, what's safe to spend, and confidently look at the future without being marketed to because you're using some free app, check out Tiller Money. I like it because it's a spreadsheet. I like it because it automatically updates every day. I like the fact that I can make it really, really a very simple budget, which is what I like to live by. You can also make it incredibly complex and complicated if you're a true money nerd. What I like is the flexibility. Check it out yourself, tillerhq.com. You'll get a free 30-day trial. Actually, that's tillerhq.com/MWF. If you want the free 30-day trial, use our link that tells them that we sent you. And also then you help the show as well. So help yourself, help the show, keep your money on track, and don't go over budget, Bola, while you're out there buying holiday gifts for the kids.
You're talking to me, Joe? Why'd you put my name in that sentence?
I don't know why I did that. Because of all the people that would blow the budget, it's probably not the woman behind Clever Girl Finance. She probably learned that lesson already a long time ago. What's our takeaway today from this, Bola?
I would definitely say for anyone who is listening and any of these programs sounded familiar to you, you're leveraging them, definitely go back and confirm the date that these are ending, create a plan. If you're fine when this ends, great. If you think you're still going to be struggling, start to communicate ahead of time, because what's going to happen is that these programs are going to end and then the phone lines are going to get crazy. And then once you've communicated and you've gotten into any plans, you've negotiated with these creditors and lenders, start thinking about what can I do to bring in income, to earn some money, to get through this season until I get back to that steady job, to that, that income I had in the past. It's time to get scrappy and creative, and don't worry about, what people are going to think about you. Don't let your emotions not let you take action, but instead just focus on the key things you need to do to get through this season.
Yeah, I like that because as well as anybody that a lot of people pay attention to things that they don't control and don't influence, and they get angry. I mean, we just went through an election where half the country dislikes the other half of the country, and how much can we really influence any of that? I mean, we can vote, which is a little influence, but the things that we can really control are right in front of us. And by spending your time, I think, on those things, and I love don't look at the big, huge picture. Look at the next step. And much like Bola, when we were filling out that Michigan unemployment thing for the family member, Cheryl and I didn't look at the whole form, because when I first looked at it, I went, there's no way we can fill this out. We just took the next thing, and then we took the next thing. And before we knew it, we were moving forward. Yes,
exactly. Just one step at a time. Don't worry about the big picture, about the distance. Don't focus on the distance. Focus on taking that next step.
Now, I heard a little bird told me that while this is a pretty neat podcast, that there's this really awesome podcast out there called Clever Girls Know. I don't know if you know anything about that podcast, Bola.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about it. It's such a cool podcast. It's where we talk about life, money, business from a woman's perspective, and we have such a great time.
You do have a great time. You keep it very, don't get me wrong, you go into some deep, heavy territory, but you guys are able to get there because you keep it light and you smile and have fun while you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, with the way things are, and just when you think about personal finance and how heavy it can be, if you cannot find humor, if you can't find ways to laugh about it, you will cry. And, it's tough. So we try to make it light and also easy to consume. Finances doesn't have to be complicated, and that's our goal.
Clever Girls Know podcast, wherever finer podcasts are distributed. Bola's back here tomorrow. Rumor has it you also wrote a book recently called Grow Your Money, which I might have here in front of me. And we're going to talk about some stock market stuff with Bola. But actually, we're not going to do that tomorrow. We're going to do that on Monday. We're going to do that. Bola Sokunbi back talking about Tesla joining the S&P 500. What does that mean? What does all that mean? Should you invest in Tesla? Should you invest in indexes? We'll be back with that on Monday. We'll see you back here then. Bye-bye. All right. One down.
Do
you got to take a quick break?
No, they're fine.
Are I don't remember the twins. You're only two.
Yes, the only. What do
what
you
the
mean?
hell
I
is
didn't know?
only, Joe?
Is that not enough?
She's like, shut your
I'm
mouth.
still recovering.
Mine are too, but it's funny seeing people. The reason I ask that is seeing people with, when you're like, no, they're fine. Seeing people that have older siblings and younger siblings, like when the younger sibling, you can always tell when somebody's a first time parent versus somebody that has, kids that are third and fourth and fifth. Cause those parents are always like, I'm like, oh, there's a light socket over there. And that parent's always like, let them stick their finger in it. They'll learn never to do that again.
Yep, he'll learn from it.
Where, first time parents always would come over with their kids are all in bubbles and padding and they don't want them to touch anything and really worried. Yeah. Go ahead and touch that stove. See if I care. Right? All right.
Put the wire in your mouth. Find out what happens.
That's right. And what's funny is that Bola and I can laugh about that only because we're not really for children hurting themselves, just to be clear. Adrian says, I heard on Marketplace, 40% of retailers aren't able to fill positions. My question is, will these seasonal workers being hired, on myself included, be able to keep their work after the holiday shopping season? I think, Adrian, and I think that depends, Bola, don't you, on just crowds and whether, brick and mortar comes back or if shopping, what happens with shopping?
Typically, right, seasonal workers are for that season, right? They overhire to support the high demand. I think this year we're going to see a lot of demand for Christmas because a lot of people just want to have a good Christmas. Unfortunately, people are going to spend money they don't have, as with every Christmas, and even more so now because of the pandemic and emotional spending. But I think that there are many businesses in different segments of retail that are actually thriving. And so even if you work with a seasonal employer right now, that doesn't keep you, I think you'll still find other opportunities in other places. Like the pandemic has been tough in a lot of businesses, but it has given a lot of other businesses opportunities, open new segments. So I think opportunities will exist. You just have to find them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, Adrian, if you're a seasonal employee, I think I would try to make sure that the powers that be know there that you're really hoping to use this as an audition, right? I mean, don't make them read your mind. I think you got to tell them that you really are doing this to hopefully stay on longer. All right. I'm geared up for the second one. Bola and I are just knocking them down today. All right. This is what's funny about this one, Bola, is that you're going to be both on Money with Friends and Stacking Benjamins here on the same day for this one. This will be, what is this? November 30th, I think. This is Monday, November 30th we're doing right now. All right. Everybody ready? Quiet on the set, kids. Getting ready to go live. Here we go. Automaker Tesla joining the S&P 500. What does that mean? How does that change your investment strategy, or should it? We're going to talk individual stocks, buying indexes, and investing 101 with the author of the hit new book, Grow Your Money. Bola Sokunbi joins us on today's episode of Money with Friends. Welcome back to the Money with Friends podcast, coming to you live from my mom's half-finished basement where we make the Stacking Benjamin show in Texarkana, Texas. I'm Joe Saul-Sehy.
And I am Bola Sokunbi in New Jersey, trying to hide from my kids that are homeschooling downstairs.
I don't know any parent that's doing that, Bola, besides you. No parents hiding from kids. Yeah.
None.
This is the podcast where we cover recent stories ripped from the financial press. Today's comes to us from Market Watch. Not only are we going to read part of them like some podcasts, but we'll dive into how this can help you invest better, know what you're doing more. Maybe on some episodes, pay down debt more effectively or save money. That's not enough. Today, Bola and I are going to share a big idea at the end of the show that will help you be better with money the rest of your day, and hopefully in less than 20 minutes. Today's show is brought to you by NordPass. Today, I have this note from Sandy over at NordPass. Today I can't figure it out, guys. I honestly can't figure it out. And I probably should Bola right to Sandy, but Sandy says that until December 31st, and I don't know if this means it's through tomorrow or through today, but there's a 70% discount on NordPass. So if you're somebody who, especially during the shopping season, you're putting in so many passwords, why have one password that a hacker can steal and get all your stuff? Use a solution like NordPass, 70% off if you buy it today, nordpass.com/MWF. And I really, Bola, don't like doing that. You got to buy it today, but 70% off. Why wouldn't you buy it today?
To protect yourself from potential, this is a season of identity theft and password stealing. I mean, I would take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Get yourself a password manager. At first, I think I've told the story before, but at first I hated my password manager. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. I was like, I got to log into this thing every time. And now I live by it. It is so great. NordPass.com. What's yes. NordPass.com/MWF for more. Bola Sokunbi's here, hiding from her kids, helping us make a podcast. Happy Monday. So you survived the big holiday weekend though, Bola?
Yes, I tried my best not to derail my whole financial future on Black Friday.
That is always a challenge that every family has, especially if you're shopping for the holidays. Today, though, we're gonna skip all that. We're gonna talk about investments and some terms. What I love about this show is that we sometimes talk about what does all this mean? Tesla joining the S&P 500. What the hell does that mean? We'll have that. Let's see which one of our friends is going to help us kick off today's discussion. All right, today's piece comes to us, as I mentioned earlier, from MarketWatch. It's written by Andrew Keshner, and it's 3 takeaways for retail investors now that Tesla is joining the S&P 500. And I will link to this piece. I really just want to use this as a jumping off point, Bola, to talk about some other things. First of all, Tesla, individual stock. How many people listening to this podcast do you think should probably be individual stock investors?
Is that a trick question? People get mad at me when I say this. I mean, it depends on the individual, right? How much time do you have to spend researching? Do you have other diversified assets elsewhere? If not, probably zero of you should be investing in a single individual stock, specifically Tesla, but it depends on their financial pictures.
What's interesting though, back when I was a financial planner, I'd have people ask me, they'd say, should I invest in the S&P 500 or should I invest in Tesla stock? And as if it was two of the same thing. And really, these are two different things. Let's talk about the S&P 500 part of this. What is the S&P 500 and why would that be attractive to somebody to maybe invest there versus Tesla?
Yeah, so in very simple terms, the S&P 500 is made up of these 500 big corporations that essentially anchor the U.S. economy, right? So these companies are not doing well. You know, the economy is not doing well. Just very simple way to base it. And by Tesla coming into this group is showcasing that this is now a company that is an economical anchor for the U.S. And so, you know, when you invest in the S&P 500, your money is divvied up into all of these different corporations, companies, right? Versus when you invest in just Tesla, you're investing in that one individual stock. So if Tesla is a company that you're interested in investing in, by investing in that S&P 500 or whichever one of the other companies are on that list, you essentially are an owner of that company, but in a more diversified way because your money is spread into other companies as well.
You wrote in your book about how a lot of investors, you know, they worry about risk, right? And they feel like buying stocks is gambling. Which one is a bigger gamble then? Investing in Tesla or investing in the S&P 500?
Investing in the individual stock, if you do not have any diversification elsewhere, is the bigger gamble, because Elon Musk can decide that he's quitting Tesla tomorrow. It's going to tank his stock. He's moving to another planet, by the way, if you did not know. Once he packs up and leaves, that could also tank his stock. By the way, I just realized that he's the smartest person on earth. Like, he saw this pandemic coming. He's like, you know what, guys, it's time to move.
Right. We got to get going on this Mars thing.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah. Is anybody listening? We should probably get this thing. Yeah. And by the way, you know, you talk about Tesla stock moving based on what Elon Musk does. He's not at all erratic, is he?
No, not at all. I mean, what? No. And you know what's interesting about that is that leadership is a big deal in a company, especially when it's a newer company that a lot of its success is tied to the leader success, like Tesla and Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos and Amazon, Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, so at this, whatever he does, right, is going to be impactful to this company because there's still that deep association between founder and company. Like he is the company in many instances.
So to parse what you're saying here, to be very clear, you shouldn't expect a higher rate of return with the S&P 500, but you should expect a little less volatility, and your money's safer. However, that doesn't mean that your portfolio, Bola, won't go down a lot. Sometimes your portfolio can still go down a lot, and that's okay. How do you personally deal with the fact that sometimes the market just tanks and you don't want to run and take all your money out?
Yeah, absolutely. Your assets, your stocks can go down with politics. We saw it with the election, with the pandemic announcement where nobody knows the future, because those are things that impact the economies broadly, not just one industry sector, one company, one founder. These are things that can impact broadly, but it's important to remember that these things are short-term occurrences, right? We're not going to have an election year perpetually. It's every 4 years.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
Thank goodness.
Let's move on. We're hopefully not going to have a pandemic forever. There's always these periods of time that happen and then you move past them. And so you see that short-term volatility, but over time, right? More businesses, more people, more demand, we will continue to see the stock market grow. So just focus on what do I need to survive life right now, right? Emergency savings, being employed, and let your stocks do what they're going to do long-term, tied to your objectives and why you're investing, whether it's for retirement, kids' college, whatever it might be, that's off in the distant future.
I think everybody watching us do this live, and what I love about doing this live is you never know what's going to happen, and people just witness that I can't breathe coffee, Bola.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened to you.
I was in the middle of listening. I was in the middle of listening, and I don't know why I decided to take a breath in the middle of that, but that was not going the right way. So for those of you listening to just the audio of this, you missed watching Joe nearly die, which is half the fun. You can join us, by the way, on our YouTube channel. So you can see that thrilling action adventure that's Money with Friends at youtube.com/MWF. So the big questions that we promised here at the start, though, Bola, Tesla joining the S&P 500. If I'm the average person out there, I see this. How does this change the game for me?
It means you might be excited to go buy Tesla because Tesla has been trending all year long. But it also means that maybe you should take a step back and look objectively at the big picture of your finances and your investing goals and your risk tolerance before you make that investment. It is attractive. Tesla is a very sexy stock right now. My son hears Tesla, is like, Mom, I want to buy some Tesla. But again, just because it's attractive, just because it's trendy, doesn't mean it fits into your portfolio. You want to make sure that it's a good fit. You also want to make sure that you're diversified, right? Doesn't matter how incredible a company is. You should never put all your money into it. And so I vote rather to invest in the S&P 500 because by the time they've done all their rebalancing and adding Tesla into the different fund portfolios, you will still be a part owner of Tesla.
That's a cool thing, by the way, about the S&P 500 that I hadn't thought about until a couple of years ago. And some guest brought this up, which is the nice thing, with portfolios, you often have to weed them. And if you buy individual stocks, it's like weeding your garden. You have to remember which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones are still meeting the goal, which ones aren't. And you're not market timing as much as you're just making sure that you're being a responsible investor and staying diversified. When you own an index, Bola, it's self-cleaning. If a company isn't doing well, the S&P 500 says bye-bye. And if a company is doing really well, like Tesla, they add it. So it's like the self-cleaning oven for me, which, by the way, stinks up our entire house whenever I press that button. I don't know. It is self-cleaning, but we try to go away while that's happening. But the S&P 500 is kind of made to continually, over long periods of time, go up because as companies lag, they take them out.
Yep. I'm curious to know who's getting kicked out. I'm going to go.
I didn't look that up. That is interesting. You're always looking for dirt. Seeing who maybe didn't do it. Hey, in just a second, Bola and I are going to have our takeaway from today's discussion about Tesla joining the S&P 500. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the 70% off deal on NordPass. So here's the deal, guys, with not just NordPass, but password protection in general, is that I thought I had a couple good passwords. I thought good passwords was enough. If I just kept a couple good passwords on hand, why would I want anything else? And then I realized if somebody gets a hold of one cool password that I have, they got a hold of everything that I do. every single thing. And by the way, companies often want to change the password. And what's funny, Bola, is that Cheryl would often, still does sometimes, accuses me of going in and changing passwords arbitrarily. I don't do that. These companies say, you know what? You need to change your password because you haven't changed it in a while. Or we've been hacked. You have to change your password. And if I do that and I don't remember to tell her right away, well, then we have a problem. The cool thing with NordPass, I don't have to remember any of those things. It's all in our password manager. So Cheryl and I both, from any device that we have, our phone, a computer, wherever we are, we tune into NordPass, put in one password that we know, and then we've got everything, and everything's on a different password. Check it out yourself. You get 70% off an extra month for free if you do that today. December 1st, this goes bye-bye. If you go to nordpass.com/MWF for Money with Friends, nordpass.com/MWF. And that's our Cyber Monday deal for people. Bola, what's our takeaway today on Tesla joining the S&P 500?
Well, I would definitely say that it's exciting. Tesla is a sexy stock, but knowing that they're joining the S&P 500, if you already invest in the S&P 500 or an index fund that mimics it, you will probably already be invested in Tesla, at least by the time this is all rebalanced. So, you can keep your investments as is, as opposed to pursuing individual stocks, especially if you don't have broad diversification in your portfolio right now.
That's a great point, because I'm thinking about people that would often say to me, "Oh, Tesla joined the S&P 500. That's a big move. I should go buy it." Well, you need to own it the day before they announce that, because
Exactly.
then the stock goes up. So, and for most people, I love what you said, Bola. And I know some people get frustrated with this, but for the vast majority of us, go buy the index instead of buying an individual company, and you'll get where you want to go, and you can focus on the things that you really want to focus on. And the stock market is not voodoo, and it's not gambling. It really follows the economy. So owning the S&P 500 over time, assuming that the economy does well, a bet on the economy versus a bet on Elon Musk is maybe I don't know if I want to say a better bet, Bola, but I do want to say it's a more consistent bet, and one that, as the leadership changes, I don't have to worry about it. If he decides to go to Mars, I don't have to worry about it because I own the S&P 500. I don't own.
I'm moving to Mars too.
Are you really? Well, that's today because your kids are homeschooling. That's why you're like, Mars sounds good right now.
I'm going to leave you guys at this pandemic behind.
I've seen The Martian and Matt Damon. Him duct taping everything is way easier than what you're going through right now. Yeah, it's great. You have a book, Bola, on this very topic that I have in my hand right now called Grow Your Money, out from Wiley, as usual. Great looking book, and congratulations on this. But this covers investing 101 for a lot of people.
Yes, and that was the whole idea behind the book, to remove the jargon and to minimize the mystery around investing. It's all about knowledge and creating a plan that works for you, and that's what that book does. So I'm really excited about it. I learned a lot from trial and error when it came to investing, and this book is basically your guide to help you get started and minimize those mistakes that I made myself.
Now, I know that it's available everywhere, but I also know that if somebody's interested in your cool community, there's going to be a link I would imagine, at Clever Girl Finance for the book, and people can check out the surround sound as well that they get with your community, correct?
Yes, everything's available at clevergirlfinance.com.
Awesome. Bola's back with us next month with more. Hopefully you survive the holiday season. We'll see if she's still hiding from her kids a month from now. She's Bola. I'm Joe. Bobby's back with you tomorrow. We'll see you guys at Money with Friends. Bye-bye.
Bye.
16 minutes. Bam. Nice job. And you know what's funny, guys? I apologize. We were having so much fun and going through it. Tyson, I didn't even pull. The bad news about Restream is I got to go back and forth between captions and the chat. And I forgot to go 50% Tesla, 50% Bitcoin. There's diversification, Bola. That's fantastic. And Adrian, I mentioned I like to work during class. Oh, yeah, that's good. I mean, telling them ahead of time, I think, doesn't guarantee anything. But I know I've had employees before that didn't tell me what they wanted, and then they got frustrated when I didn't give them what they thought that I should have known that they wanted, and that never goes well. Yeah, that's good. Okay, guys, we're going to take off. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.